actors. Ben, you have quite a musical background, ranging from musical theatre to drumming past to the Eurovision Song Contest. Was that part of the appeal of Killing Bono, that you'd get to express some of that musical talent?
I think so. I mean, I think when I was a teenager, I was doing Sinatra tribute concerts at school. I was playing drums in a jazz band. I was doing these soul gigs, and when I finished school, I put together like a function band with like some of the teachers from my school, and we were singing at graduation things just to make a bit of money and stuff. So yeah, I've always loved music. I was sort of raised on kind of 70s and 80s rock that my dad was playing in the house. You know, the Stones, Beatles, The Who. You know, and all that kind of stuff, really. So yeah, it was definitely I've definitely got that in there somewhere. I think secretly also every film star wants to be like a rock star. Wants to get the leather trousers on and do some lunges and squeal.
So this is a role you couldn't say no to then.
Basically, yeah. But I was also very keen to do something completely different to the Narnia films and sort of the period stuff I've done. And I wanted to play, you know, someone a bit more self-deprecating, a little bit kind of, you know, I wanted to get into doing some comedy as well, because I knew, you know, I've always had a passion for it.
Would you do a full-on musical if the right one came along?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely would. But it would have to be something kind of new and interesting rather than something that had been done before, because I think it's always exciting to explore new stuff.
Yeah. You play in Killing Bono, you play Neil McCormick, a character who we change your minds a lot about during the film.
Yeah.
Was that a tough balance to get right?
It was. I mean, I think when you play any character, no matter how flawed or how vicious or evil or, you know, how bad his intentions, you side with that character and you want to see the best in them. So I always saw the best in Neil. I always saw just someone who was passionate, enthusiastic, and wanted, you know, the best for him, and wanted to do it his own way with his family, and wanted to kind of, you know, get there on his own and all that. Yeah. Whereas actually he just couldn't get out of his own way, but he's got a good heart. He's just a plonker, and he just, you know, he tries so hard. But you know, ultimately it's a story about failure. Not everyone becomes a rock star or a film star or a TV chef or a sculptor or, you know. Yeah. But you know, they succeed in their own ways, and Neil is now, you know, a top kind of rock critic, and sure. And he's written a book that's become a movie, and they're making a film about his life, even though he isn't famous. I mean, if that isn't success, I mean, I don't know what it is. Really.
Did you meet him at any stage before you started shooting or during
No, I wasn't allowed to.
No, okay.
The director wouldn't let me. He said his exact words of it: Neil is so annoying. If you try and copy him and his character in the film, no one will be able to sit through it. Right. So you have to ask him about why that was, because I've met him since, and he's a lovely fella.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't. I didn't really want to kind of study someone on that. It wasn't like I was playing Ray Charles or, you know, Johnny Cash or, you know, one of those. I kind of had the freedom to be. I had to have the freedom to be kind of really disinhibited and make him as stupid as I wanted, and kind of bring a bit of with nail into it, or a bit of like. I looked at Colin Farrell in Bruges, and that kind of boundless enthusiasm and kind of wide-eyed kind of, look, a dwarf, what's he doing there? You know, and all that. And I kind of wanted to bring that passion to it, rather than kind of studying someone and presenting, because it's a silly movie.
So rather than study a real-life character like Neil, did you look at any particular rock star, perhaps, for the stage performances?
I looked at lots. I mean, for playing Neil, I wanted to play the voice that he wrote the book in, rather than the man himself, because he's characterised himself a bit in his story. Yeah. But yeah, for the we decided to make him, because he was, you know, we had to give him a bit of talent. He had to be able to kind of sing and be the front man for the story to work. But what we did was we kind of decided he couldn't really work out why he wanted what he wanted. So he wants to be famous. He wants to get there. So whatever's trendy, whether it's Wham, Queen, U2, David Bowie, Sting, reggae, whatever it is, he wants to do that, whatever the new trend is. So I looked at a lot of videos of like Jagger with Bowie and David Hyde doing his dancing, and kind of like Sting with the kind of, you know, that kind of, you know, with all the hemp clothes and everything. Right. And so I borrowed a little bit of each for all the different performances. And I think I sing about 10 songs on the soundtrack, and they're all a little bit different.
Is that actually your voice on the soundtrack in the movie? Yeah.
Yeah, we spent 2 weeks in the studio recording all the songs and everything, and they're all like a little bit different, which makes it kind of quite fun, I think.
And are the songs used, are they especially written for the film, or are there some shook-up numbers
They're
in there?
especially written for the film. We've stolen a few lyrics, because even we couldn't come up with anything as ridiculous as what those boys came up with.
Right.
So we stole a few lyrics for 2 of the songs, I think, but the rest of them are kind of originals that just kind of have that feel to them.
Okay. I have to ask briefly about the Irish accent, which is perfect, pitch perfect. I was wondering, was it tough to get that diddly I corrected? Was there a lot of preparation for that?
No, not really, because we didn't really have the budget for a dialect coach or anything like that.
Okay.
So I spent about 2 hours with the dialect coach before I came over. And then I just stayed in the accent the whole time I was here. Even when I was in the pub, on the phone to my mum.
Did anyone pick you up on it?
No, not one. But I spent so much time with Robbie, and I was so keen to sound like brothers. I think that I automatically sounded Irish-ish.
Okay.
Because I was so keen to sound like him. And I think he's from Laois or somewhere near enough anyway.
So he was an influence then almost on the twang that you had and with the accent?
Yeah, I think I was kind of going along doing my Irish accent, and then I'd hear him say, "Oh, look at that car. Car? That doesn't sound real," but it is. So I just kind of went with it, really.
And did you audition with an Irish accent? Or
I did. It's not quite as solid as it is in the film, in the audition tape, which I still have. But and what's really sweet about that tape is that there's an actor called Will Poulter who's in Son of Rambo. He's the lead kid in that.
Right, yeah.
And he's in the Narnia film with me. So I auditioned in Australia. So he is reading the other lines. He's playing Ivan in the scenes.
Okay.
And you can hear him in the background. It's just before his voice broke, and he sounds like a little leprechaun. And so, yeah, that's very, very sweet, really, to have him do that.
Speaking about Robert, I suppose you guys have a great brotherly dynamic on there. I was wondering, how did you get that? Did you hang out beforehand? Did you jam together?
Not really beforehand, but yeah, we just clicked very, very, very quickly as kind of brothers. We hang out all the time. We were in the pub together. We were kind of watching films together. We'd hang out in each other's hotels while we were shooting. We rehearsed together kind of as a band as well, and I was watching him play guitar. But I think it was more like I didn't know who he was when he was cast at all. And then he gave me a DVD of Misfits, which I watched. And I was kind of came in the next day and like, "You're amazing. I love you. You're a comic genius. You're like a funny wizard." And so I was kind of in awe of him and very proud of him, weirdly.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I have a little brother, and there's no one you're more proud of, when they do something good. But also they can irritate you in 5 seconds, which he also managed to do.
Okay,
so we juggled it. But I get along with him like a house on fire, and I can't talk to him now, not in the accent though. Even when he's on the phone.
In the Irish accent.
Yeah. If I see his face, I'm automatically like this. What's the crack? I can't talk to him in my own voice because I think he still thinks I'm Irish, so I don't want to disillusion him.
Break his heart.
Yeah. Don't tell him about Santa either, because he will be upset.
Do I have time to ask really quickly about Narnia movies anymore on being made, or?
I think they are possibly going to make another one, but I think they might go back to do The Horse and His Boy, which they might go and do that next. So I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I think I'm probably out of it for the moment anyway.
Caspian,
but you never know, because the White Witch wasn't in the last 2 books, but she managed to be in the film. So you never know where I might have a little cameo here and there.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.